the reality is AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using AI is going to take your job.
If you're not using it, you're going to get run over by it.
We had a 400% increase in conversion rate. Dropped our CA seed from $100 per conversion to $20 per conversion. I could have spent 4 hours, 8 hours doing that myself. The AI did it in 30 seconds.
What's better than ChatGPT? What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I got a real treat for you. Dustin Stout in the house. What's up, buddy?
Everything is up.
Folks, if you guys want to follow this guy, and I'm sure you're going to, especially if you're interested in AI, you're going to go to @DustinW.Stout. His company he started Magi, Magai. It's almost like Mag AI, but it's not. It's Magi. Tell them why the name.
You know, it's a funny story because when ChatGPT first came out, I remember using it, and I'd used AI tools before that. Us marketers, I ran a marketing agency for 12 years. We had used AI stuff, but it all kind of sucked, right? It was all based on these templates. You got to pick that template for this. And when ChatGPT came out, it was just kind of magical, right? You just said some words and it did a bunch of things. And I thought, oh man, what a magical experience. And as I developed the idea for Magi, trying to fix everything that was wrong with ChatGPT, I was like, it needs to be something that ties in this idea of magic and AI. And, you know, what if I could do something that was, you know, had some sort of a biblical sense to it? You know, I thought about the wise men who visited Jesus. They were often called the Magi, Magi. And I was like, what if I did like a play on that? It's like magic and it's AI. I just combine the two. Magi. Oh, perfect. Go buy the domain. Couldn't get the .com, had to get the .co because domain squatters, but .co's have always worked out pretty well for me anyways.
Magi.co, or as you say, .co. So AI, dude, it's obviously taken the world by storm. I always tell people, especially in business, if you're not, using it, you're going to get run over by it. Everybody and their dog's worried about getting their jobs taken. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't worry about getting your jobs taken. I'd be worried about figuring out how to use it so your jobs don't get taken.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could literally shift into being someone who just trains it. And there's a lot of people out there that want AI. They've got money, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to train it. So at the end of the day, dude, AI is a revolution. It's a opportunity. It's not something to be afraid of. Would you agree?
It's the biggest shift in the business economy and in the world economy that we've seen since the onset of the internet. And I don't say that lightly. I'm a very real kind of person. I try to be pragmatic about things and not hyperbolic, but it really is. It's a shift that's going to cause waves for decades. And you and I lived through that onset of the internet age, what it did to businesses who fought against it, and what happened to the businesses that embraced it right away. We're going to see that same shift with AI. And, there is all this, a lot of people scared, like AI is going to take my job. And the reality is AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using AI is going to take your job.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I meant.
I was hoping to get one of those. And that's the reality.
We'll say that again because, dude, you guys better pay attention. I'm telling you, everybody's worried. Well, dude, if you're worried, you're in the wrong mindset. Number one, you need to be excited. And then number two, like he just said, I forget how you said it, but you said it's not going to take your job. What'd you say?
AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using AI is going to take your job.
Yeah. So embrace it, folks. So pay attention, get your notepads out and get ready to listen. Cause this dude started and created Magi, which is essentially, I wouldn't want to call it a middleware, but basically it's almost a intelligent layer over all of the existing AIs, the best ones out there that are like billions of dollars developed. Well, he came along, which is pretty smart, and just laid a component over it and said, okay, well, this one's good for this one's good for that. Because they're all different for reasons you're using it.
Absolutely.
Some people like Claude, some people like ChatGPT, some people like all these other ones, and there's other ones popping up. What's the one, Elon? Grok.
Yeah,
and
Grok's great.
And then who was it? NVIDIA? What's the one that was supposed to kill everybody's?
Well, NVIDIA came along. They said that theirs was going to kill everybody. It was a pretty big model and it was very efficient, low cost, but it hasn't really made a whole lot of waves. It hasn't delivered a lot of those promises. But
well, Elon claimed Grok was going to be a killer.
Oh, it's fantastic. Grok is really, really good. Now, the thing with Grok is that unlike, I would say there's three main competitors really in the industry. There's ChatGPT, obviously. It's the Kleenex brand.
Isn't that OpenAI, though?
OpenAI is the company behind it. I think its number two competitor is Claude. Claude is created by a company called Anthropic. Anthropic was started by ex-OpenAI employees who were mad that OpenAI wasn't being safe and secure enough. So they started Anthropic, and a lot of that can be seen in how their model works. It's obviously a lot more safe and secure.
Let's stop for a minute. How is it unsafe and unsecure, and why do you need it to be safe and secure?
That's a great question. It's not that OpenAI is unsafe. It's just that it's less emphasis. So when you're building a company, you might have a competitor who's really good at one thing, and maybe you look at them and you go, well, they're really good at this, but I think the more important aspect is, this peanut butter, for example. Let's say, you have Jif out here who's got the smooth and creamy peanut butter, and you're like, man, I like my peanut butter to be a little chunkier. So I'm going to create a chunky peanut butter. Still peanut butter, right? So you've got OpenAI who's got their peanut butter, and you've got Anthropic who has just their take on the peanut butter. And the result is just different personalities. And it's, some people are taken back when I say that, but each of these models does have its own sort of underlying personality. The most obvious is Grok. Grok's a little bit more witty, a little bit more whimsical than all the other AI models out of the box.
You think Elon did that on purpose?
Oh, absolutely. I think he 100% did. That's his culture. That's his ethos that's around him. And so it was no surprise to me that, Grok was a little spicy around the edges.
So Magi basically is a presentation layer. Like, what would you call it?
It's a unified interface, and that's maybe too complicated a word. It's a way of bringing all the top models into one place so that you don't have to learn and relearn and log into 15 different apps. Yeah. Right. So
or be limited to one.
Or be limited. Right.
Because like me, I didn't know that Claude was better at math, for example.
Right.
Or building copywriters or books or whatever. So they all have their different strengths. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of business owners that just think AI is ChatGPT.
Right.
When in reality, no, that's just one of the versions of it. Mm-hmm. Arguably the most known. Mm-hmm. Were they first?
They were first to market with their chatbot. ChatGPT completely changed the game. Now, those of us who are kind of in the know, we've seen, like I said, AI for years now, but not in that form factor. They really reintroduced AI in a way that was lowering the bar of entry. Like I said, before it was like templates. Pick this specific copywriting framework template, or this other template, or this other one. ChatGPT was like, just tell it what you want. And we're all familiar with text messaging, right? So they created a new form factor that just gave us what we wanted. And so they were first to market. They had a lot of money behind them so they can do marketing, a lot of really smart people to do that marketing for them. And so they kind of won the race so far.
Google.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have their version?
They do. It's called Gemini. They've been kind of behind. They've been a little... They've made some embarrassing mistakes along the way, but I think they're still a big competitor. So I think
just because they're funded, right?
They're funded, and they actually invented the T in GPT. That was their technology that OpenAI used when they came up with this ChatGPT model. So they've had this going for years. They've had the longest run of anybody, I think, to create a model that works. But the problem with Google is they're just too big. They've got too many projects, and they lack the focus and the leadership to really drive the product home. But they're gaining ground very quickly. They just released.
I thought they're losing ground.
Well, they're gaining it with their last model. It was Gemini 2.5 Pro is their newest big model. Then they have like a bunch of small models as well, but it's making a lot of waves, especially amongst developers. They're more aimed at the developers, not necessarily the day-to-day workers, the assistants, the writers, the marketers. Yeah, they have really found their niche in like creating
Apple.
Developer tools. Right. Exactly right.
Remember back when Apple was just, they were like almost uppity. Like we're for
Oh,
over
yeah.
but that wasn't the masses.
Absolutely.
So they almost screwed that up.
They did, yeah.
Well, the reason I say Google's screwing it up because nowadays I used to go to Google to search. I used to go to Google to search. Yeah. I don't anymore.
Yeah,
I go to ChatGPT.
Existential crisis. Yeah.
And people are starting to say, well, ChatGPT it. So right. It's starting to become a word, an adjective.
Yeah.
Like Google did.
Right.
And so now, like Google, you owned everything. All you got to do is, if I were them, I wouldn't call it Gemini. I would make it Google. Like, in other words, Google would just be AI now. And because everyone still Googles. And when someone goes, go to ChatGPT, you can just Google it. Google is AI. I wouldn't try to change a name because no one's going to say, go Gemini it.
Yeah, I don't know what the naming, like what the decision-making is on their side, because they have a lot of weird names for their models. They have Gemini and they have Gemma, and at the beginning was Palm. And like I think, like I said, they're just spread thin. They don't have the leadership. They don't have the direction. And I think there's a lot of risk involved for them too. If they were to wipe out their search product automatically, that's most of their business. That's like the largest part.
Yeah, but can it work in conjunction with AI?
It can. It absolutely can.
Because when I ChatGPT it, I'm just trying to Google something.
Well, here's the thing. How do you monetize with ads with a chatbot? If it's just supposed to spit out the answer for you.
How are you going to monetize if nobody uses Google?
Well, that's very true.
Because, dude, true. I chat GPT shit now. I don't Google shit anymore. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Is that everybody? I don't think it's just me.
No, it's not everybody, for sure. I mean, I talk to a lot of people every single day that still have yet to make their first ChatGPT message. So I think there's a lot of us who are ahead of the curve, but there's still a great chasm between those who have replaced Google with AI and those who have just still don't understand what to use it for.
Well, you guys better pay attention on this episode then, because again, you're going to get run over if you're just sitting there. But if you leverage it, if you learn it, get on it and leverage it, you're going to be fine. And not only that, dude, it's invaluable. Like I'm Google or AI and shit every day. Now I've never used Magi. How is it a new thing? How come I've never heard of it?
Well, we're just small and scrappy, so we don't have a whole lot of marketing capital like OpenAI does. I started it by myself, built it in 8 weeks, literally 4 months after ChatGPT hit the scene. And I've just bootstrapped it from the beginning. And despite having been a marketer for 12 years, I wanted to really do the product right. I wanted to build the best possible product. So I didn't really spend any time marketing my own product. I just hope word of mouth will get around. If it's a good product, people will share it. And at that point, I had a very small personal brand, not a Brad Lee level personal brand, but I had 100,000 email subscribers, and I had the types of followers I have are very powerful people who have their own audiences. I was the people who follow me were influencers in their own right. So I simply just shared my journey and trusted that, the product would sell itself, and the friends that I have would help me spread the word. And so far it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, but you're eventually going to have to raise some dough.
Oh, eventually. Yeah. If we're
to compete with, $1 billion companies, you're going to have to, unless again, you just want to be that like small purist, AI purist. And folks, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, what he built is basically a lobby and a connector. Is how I describe it. So that's
a great way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm already thinking about switching. Why? Because dude, if I go over to Magi, I still have ChatGPT. Absolutely. But now I also have Claude. I also have whatever the rest of them are. And
here's the other thing. Just this past week, OpenAI released 3 new models that ChatGPT users will never have access to. Only developers will have access to. My users got them within 2 hours of them being announced. So we get to use models that most people don't even get access to because they are maybe developer-only models. And we get to tie them together and leverage them against one another. So for instance, if you know that ChatGPT is better at brainstorming and creative thought, which it is, and you know that Claude is a better copywriter, which it is, you could start with ChatGPT, say, hey, give me 3 ideas for a YouTube video title. And or with GPT. GPT will give you those title ideas, and you can say, okay, Claude, switch right over to Claude, knowing it's the better writer, and say, hey, Claude, now you write the copy for the script.
Yeah, but how do you know which one's which if you're barely aware of AI?
Oh, I'll tell you. Just ask. I'll tell you. We also have a feature that will, if you set it to auto mode, you put in your prompt, and the AI will analyze, what your prompt is, and it knows which models are best at which types of prompts, and it'll just automatically redirect it for you.
Yeah, to me, that's the magic.
That is.
If I was you, I wouldn't even make that an option.
Well, some people are really picky. So
yeah, but those are the few, dude. They're the ones that get AI. Like if I know, well, Claude's better for this. Like who the hell knows which one's better for which? You got to be an AI if you know that. So that's a smaller group of people.
True. That's very true.
So you're catering.
I'm catering mostly to our early adopters. The early adopters of technology are typically the power users who are out there exploring. They're the ones who have a ChatGPT and a Gemini and a Claude account. Those are our average customers, from the beginning, because they're the ones out there experimenting, right? And so they typically they want a little more control.
What's their feedback?
Well, they love the auto feature, but they start to have preferences. Right. So once they've had Claude write some feedback from, I have some people who say Gemini is a better copywriter, but it's for their specific type of copywriting.
Yeah.
Right. So the ability to explore is really the superpower. Once you explore a few different models in the same context without having to switch tabs, and you can compare them side by side, that's how you get to know this one's better for this. Top athletes, they don't just pick the brand of wrap that works best, right? Or shoes, for example. Maybe they're taking the ones that sponsor them, right? But they have, as an athlete at one point, I had somewhere I was like, oh no, this tape worked better for my particular issue, and I had to explore that a little bit. And I found the one that worked, not just the one that everybody else used, right? When you're good at what you do, you find that you have preferences. And so that's why Magi gives you the ability to say, try Gemini for this, try Claude for that one. See which one works better for your given outcome. And then from that time on. And you don't have to have 15 different subscriptions just to try it out. You have them all in one place.
Yeah, so that's the where I was going. So like I can get on Magi and I still have ChatGPT, but I just gained a whole bunch of other models in one spot.
And not just chatbots either. Image generators, video generators, audio generators, all the generative things.
So I can make videos, I can make scripts, I can make books, PDFs, PowerPoints.
Yeah,
the whole bit.
Absolutely. And the reason for that is because as creators, we're all creators, right? We're all creating content at all different times. To have to chop up our workflow and have some of our content created over here, some of our content created over there. I mean, it's just fractured. We're fracturing our workload. If we have people who are working on this for us, we're making them use 5 different apps, and we have to figure out how to centralize all that content. Magi it makes it seamless, and it puts it all in one place where you can search, filter, find, organize, put it into folders, spread it out into different workspaces. Keep it organized so that it's all centralized.
Okay, so folks, now you know what to use Magi. But let's talk about how to use it. Like, let's say you're an entrepreneur. What would you be using this for? What are some of the things that all these businesses that say, okay, fine, I hear it's coming. I know it's coming. It's inevitable. But what do I do with it? Because a lot of people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, but what do I do with it? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? And just in my world, it's like, dude, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. They're like, no shit. Like, there's a lot of people that don't know what to do. So talk for a minute about, like, you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to build a brand, you're trying to scale your company. Mm-hmm. Give them 5 things that they should go to Magi right now and type in and prompt to start getting some freaking ROI big time.
I'll give you a few that I used within the past week. So we've had some indications that maybe our conversion rates weren't great for our landing page, right? So I wanted to optimize the conversion rates. And I know a little bit about conversion rate optimization, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to find out what my competitors were out there doing. And I wanted to research, what do their landing pages cover? So within Magi, I've trained our workspace to have all the knowledge about our product. And so I was able to pick one of the models that has this deep research capability, Perplexity. Some people have heard of Perplexity. It's one of the lower competitors, I think. And I said, knowing what you know about Magi, go research all my competitors, do a deep research for my competitors, find out what their highest or what their marketing copy is on all their websites. And then I want you as an expert copywriter to come up with better landing page copy for our website. And it went and researched it, put all that into a nice little, readout for me. And then it gave me some suggestions for headlines and subheadings and calls to action. Made some pretty good suggestions. And then I flipped it over to Claude, like I always do. And I said, Claude, you look at this. And I assigned it a role, an expert copywriter role. And I said, now give me the suggestions for a complete layout and a redo of the entire web page with the highest possible conversion rates. Now, I might have wordsmithed it a little bit better than that. But what it came out with was phenomenal. I mean, absolute brilliant copy. And I'll the numbers speak for themselves, right? So our ads at that point were converting terribly. I think we had something like $100 per to acquire a customer for these ads that we were running. Terrible CAC, right? After I implemented these changes that Claude gave me based on all the research that it did, we had a 400% increase in conversion rate. Dropped our CAC from $100 per lead or per conversion to $20 per conversion. I could have spent 4 hours, 8 hours doing that myself, doing all the research or assigning it to one of my VAs, then look at all that research and then put my creative brain to work another 2 hours, just kind of brainstorming. The AI did it in 30 seconds. Imagine the productivity savings, not just the productivity. I believe very much in managing our energy as much as we manage our time. And the amount of energy, creative energy that saved me is, you can't put a dollar value on it.
Yeah, because
that's just one instance.
Yeah, and it does mentally drain to think all day.
That's a whole day's worth of work that I did in, maybe it did its work in 30 seconds. I maybe took 5 minutes to audit and edit.
Yeah.
And then I passed it on to our web team who turned it into a landing page.
Dude, there's one.
That's one.
And by the way, everybody listening should be doing that right now.
Absolutely.
Go optimize your landing page.
Right.
Get higher conversions, same budget, same everything, more return. Like, dude, 30 seconds, your business is doing better than it was 30 seconds before you did it.
And this is the kind of stuff we teach people to do every single week. Another example. So one of the other things that as a SaaS company you want to do is you want to have, us versus them comparison pages, right? Magi versus Poe, for example, is another big aggregator of AI models out there. So I hate doing those pages. I can go through every one of their features and try and figure out how is theirs better than ours, or how's ours better than theirs. What are the strengths and weaknesses? But instead, just like that first example, I said, hey, go find everything you need to know about our competitor and then write me a us versus them landing page where we showcase how we are far superior than them as a product. And 30 seconds later, I have the whole copy, the entire bit of copy for that page. All it takes is a well-engineered prompt, and what we call them personas. For ChatGPT, they call them GPTs, which is just like a customized role that you give to the AI. I have the perfect SEO optimized us versus them landing page.
Does the P stand for prompt?
In GPT? No, it stands for, oh man, do I remember this? General purpose transformer. I don't know. That's completely wrong. But no, it's not prompt.
Because everyone considers what you type into it a prompt.
Right.
And that's also how you train it, isn't it?
And not necessarily. You can, throughout the conversation as you're prompting it, that is sort of informing the responses that come afterwards. So in a sense, the prompts are influencing the output that follows. But the real way to quote unquote train it is a little more, the technical term for training is not what most people think it is. Most people think, I upload a document to it and it gets trained on that. That's not actually true. It's just being added to its current conversation context. Training is a much more intensive process where you can actually use the same process they use to train the models and influence them in a more specialized direction. So it's a lot more technical process, but there are ways to augment its knowledge and better contextualize its knowledge for a given task or purpose.
So and what's crazy, it's not even very expensive. to use.
No.
Like, dude, this is like you're paying more for Starbucks than you would for Magi.
Yeah.
And Magi is better than 50 of your employees, all the smartest ones. And again, it's like, well, I can replace my employees. No, dude, you give your 50 employees Magi and you tell them to start leaning on and leveraging AI, because AI is still not humans. And they still can't have relationships, and they still can't. And I still don't believe that they have emotions and empathy and as much real human. Like I always say, you know what's smarter than AI?
What's that?
Actual intelligence. Because who made AI?
Humans. Actual intelligence.
Actual intelligence made artificial intelligence. So I don't believe that it's smarter than...
At the end of the day, it's still artificial.
Yeah, and we made it. So, I mean, we had to be smarter than it. Now, it's going to learn and it's going to be dangerous. And Elon Musk says, dude, you don't want to go. It's scary. Why is it scary? What can it do eventually? Like, what is everyone that says it's scary? What are they afraid of? It killing us?
It's Hollywood, right? So I did a talk about this last year and how Hollywood has shaped our idea of what AI is going to be, right? We've got the Terminators, the iRobots, like every Hollywood movie that talks about AI, it's AI's always here to kill us, the Matrix, right? So I think a lot of that is just colored by science fiction, which I don't think we can completely discount, because science fiction has often influenced the future of technology and has come true. But I think we're a long way off from, the T1000.
But what are they claims going to, well, T1000 might be AI in the brain, but someone had to build the robot to put the like, I see robots, if you want to call them that.
Elon's building those too.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to hump one.
No.
I see gorgeous robots that you can actually do. And I'm talking about being made one day. Do you believe that's coming?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you imagine that, dude? Finding just a smoking hot 10 that looks and feels real, speaks real, technically is real, but it's a robot with AI.
What is real, I guess?
And
What is real? What does real actually mean?
Well, that you can touch. That you can touch. I can't touch ChatGPT.
True.
But I can touch a rubber doll. Now, again, I've never seen one of those life-size rubber dolls, but I've seen them on video, and I'm like, she's sitting there. Well, I mean, dude, I'd rather have a real girl. But I mean, at some point, like if that, rubber doll is now fluid and human and can move and can think and can talk and can rub your back and can like do whatever it is a real one can do, dude, I think that will depreciate real ones big time, or cause the smart real ones to step it up. Because again, I'd rather have a real one always. But at the end of the day, if there were tens, dude, and all you do is push a button and she is on you perfectly. She knows you. She knows what you want to hear. She knows what you want to do. She knows everything, and she is just perfect. And a real one sitting there complaining and bitching and moaning and nagging and not wanting to do anything and not wanting to rub your back. I just see their value depreciating. And that goes for men too. Like, women aren't going to need men. Why? Because there's going to be man robots that feel real, perfect looking, physically perfect, protectors, 8-inch frickin' solid dongs, hydraulics, like whatever it is a woman would imagine as a dream, that's going to be there too. So now there's going to be men and women androids with perfect personalities for you, not perfect for everybody, but just perfect for you. And I think that's going to depreciate the value of a human being to each other, because again, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, dude, why am I going to put up with a real girl when this one does this? Like, what's the advantage of a real girl?
I think there's some truth to that, but I think there's also some truth to it might actually increase the value of realness, of real people, right? If
they're smart. That's what I mean by, like, if that happens, dude, the smart ones better step it up, and then it would make them more valuable.
So there's
just like pure blood.
There's a software called Canva. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So Canva, when it first came out, I remember interviewing the CEO, Melanie, for my blog. And I was a graphic designer by trade. That's how I started before I did web design. So I knew a lot about graphic design. I was one of the people looking at Canva going, is this thing going to replace the need for graphic designers? Is it going to depreciate graphic designers? If you give everybody the ability to do graphic design, is it going to make me less valuable? And that was a real threat, right? But what happened was real designers actually became more valuable because people realized how hard that stuff actually was, and they didn't actually want to do it themselves, right? So I think there's definitely a degree of truth that the demand might be less, but those who are really freaking good at what they do will still have high demand, and they'll be even more valuable, right? So you look at all the commoditized products out there, right? The cheap stuff remains cheap. Most people buy the cheap stuff, but the good stuff gets more expensive.
Well, that's what I mean by you need to leverage it.
Right, exactly.
Because as a graphic designer, if you leverage Canva correctly, you're better than Canva by itself.
Absolutely, right. So it's a matter of evolving with the trends, right?
Yeah. So give me some more entrepreneur stuff. This is the stuff they're tuning in for. I want to know how to improve my business instantly, dude. I'll go to Magi right now, magi.co, sign up, pay chump change.
Yeah.
Sign up and start doing the shit you're talking about. And now you got me hooked.
So I'm sure you've heard of a guy named Chris Voss, right?
Yeah.
I love his book. I've read it at least twice.
Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference, right. So about a year and a half ago, maybe a year and a few months, I had investors coming to me left and right wanting a piece of Magi, and I just didn't want to sell. But I thought to myself, well, maybe if I brought in a very small investment and threw some cash into the business that I can just direct towards marketing, maybe I'll accept that, at this stage. But I'm really kind of holding out for, a later stage. And I had offers. People shot me some numbers, and I didn't want to budge on what I thought my valuation was. And I'm no Chris Voss, even though I've read his book twice. I couldn't afford to hire Chris Voss to come and do the negotiation for me, right? So I knew that AI probably was trained on Chris Voss's techniques. So I created a quick persona, my Chris Voss persona, and I said, your entire goal is to just be my expert negotiator and help me to get the terms that I'm looking for from these investors. And all I did was paste in the investor offers, and I told the AI, here's what I want. Here's where I'm willing to compromise. I don't want to compromise any more than that. Come up with a negotiation for me and write the email in response to this potential investor. And it did. And I got what I wanted. It wrote a better negotiation than I ever could, all because it was trained on billions of data points that help it craft that response better than I ever would have been able to on my own.
Negotiations. There's another one. So number one, you get to improve your website instantly. Number two, negotiations. What about building websites? I keep hearing that you can prompt it to build a software application and it goes.
Yeah, you can. Now, here's the challenge with that is once you have it build the thing, most like ChatGPT or Claude, they'll write you the code, but you got to know what to do with the code, like how to get a server, how to get hosting, how to connect it to a domain. Like there's just a lot of stuff in there that it can't do yet. A lot of those connections that it needs to make that it can't do, that you need someone who actually knows what they're doing to install it and put it on a website that people can go visit. Now, there are things like Manus out there, one of the new hot Chinese models out there. I think it's made in China. I could be wrong on that, but it's allowing people to do this. And there are some developer tools out there that are letting people, connect some of those dots. But at the same time, you still are going to need somebody to maintain the code, right? The internet's always updating. Browsers are always updating. Attackers are always getting more sophisticated, right? And they're going to be using AI to attack your website. So if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to code and building websites, AI is not ready for you to be using as a tool, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to have a lot more overhead in terms of maintenance and just, trying to stay on top of things.
And you won't know what the code is because you didn't write it.
If something's broke, you won't know how to fix it. You know,
Couldn't you just ask AI?
You could, and it might be able to fix it. It's kind of hit and miss at this point. You know, some of these AI models, they get stuck in these loops. They'll fix a thing and they'll break another thing, and you ask it to fix that thing, and it goes and breaks the thing that it broke first and ended up fixing the last time, and then they get stuck in these loops. I've done probably 30 or so hours just trying to play with these different tools and see how they work, but it's not quite ready for code stuff yet. No,
all right. So
unless you're a developer.
Okay, so negotiations. Okay, there are a lot of businesses out there doing negotiations. Here's one. Legal. You can throw in a contract, and I've done this, and say which side has the best advantage. What if you were me? What would you change? You're now Perry Mason mixed with, you know, the won't quit guy, I forget, you know, the best lawyers in the world. You're now the best lawyers in the world. You always need to prompt at a role like that. You
should. You don't have to, but you should. The reason that you should is because think of it like this. If you're going and asking somebody who knows everything about everything, a generalist, right? They're going to respond to you trying to sift through all their generalized knowledge, right? And that's kind of how these AI models work. They have all this math that represents the data they've been trained on. They're trying to auto-complete the sentences that make the most sense based on all the math. When you give it a role, essentially what you're doing is you're funneling its knowledge. You're saying, you know, forget all this generalized stuff, focus on these parameters. And when you give it that level of focus, you get 10 times better content immediately.
So you're saying, you are a social media expert. How would I build my brand? And then it just it gets rid of all the fluff and goes right to social media focused, and it gives you a better answer.
Absolutely. We call those personas. You give it a persona or a role or a job description.
Yeah.
And it does the job much, much better because you're essentially funneling its vision, its knowledge into that sector.
Okay. So now you get an agreement. You say, hey, you're the best lawyer on the planet, especially in contract law related to landscaping. Read this contract and tell me, as this party, what would you change, if anything, or whatever your prompt is, and then hit enter. And literally, dude, you just saved yourself $1,000 from a lawyer reading.
Or just say, you know, upload the document, say, hey, where am I getting screwed on this contract? Well, what am I forgetting to add? That's one of my favorite questions to ask to AI, by the way. What am I missing? Because AI can give you perspectives that you've never thought of, because, you know, we all have a limited amount of experiences and knowledge that we've learned over the years. AI doesn't have those same limitations of experience, which in a sense is our greatest gift, is our experience, right? Our life experience that dictates how we view the world. AI doesn't have that, which makes it limitless in terms of the perspectives that it can gain.
Well, dude, just talking to you, you already got one subscriber here. Why? Well, because dude, all I do is go to ChatGPT. I want the ability to click the auto mode and you tell me where the hell it goes, because I don't know the differences, but I want to go there so I have them all. And then I want to start asking these questions specifically that you even just said. And then there's probably 1,000 people listening going, dude. Yeah. And again, Magi, MAGAI.co. Go sign up for the damn thing and start prompting it. And that's how you don't get run over by AI. You start leveraging it. Dude, you can negotiate. You can literally upload proposals. You can say, write me a proposal worded correctly for an A-type personality, according to the, you know, personality traits, you know, make me sound better than I would, and bang, cut, paste in the email. Yeah. It doesn't email though. When is it going to start emailing?
So actually,
you would think like that's freaking no brainer shit.
It actually can.
It doesn't for me.
It's very difficult to do though. So,
because when I get done with a whole session, and that's what I also like about ChatGPT or any AI. I say ChatGPT when I mean AI.
Right.
But what I like about AI is I will start it off and it'll go, bah, 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 and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And then it'll say, would you like me to do this, this, and this? And I'm like,
make suggestions.
Well, hell yes. And then it's bah, 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 and I'm like, damn, dude, no shit. And then bah, 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 and then bah, bah, bah. And like an hour later, dude, it's built me massive amounts of shit. And I'm thinking, dude, one time I said, awesome, can you email me this? And it said, I cannot email you yet. So I had to literally cut and paste and, you know, go try to copy it all. And it was a lot of prompts.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So it's like, man, it would be cool if I'd be like, almost like a personal assistant.
Sure.
Be like, excellent. Yes, I do. Yes, I want those PowerPoints. Yes, I want that script. Yes, I want that pricing guide. Can you just email me this? Or better yet, can you email my team?
Mm-hmm.
And so now it knows who my team is, and it goes bink. And it's almost like now a personal assistant with all the knowledge in the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
How much is that worth? What does it cost for a subscription?
Magi, currently you can get it for $20 a month. Same you're paying for ChatGPT.
$20. You get a negotiator. You get a lawyer.
Yeah.
You get a freaking copywriter. And good copywriters aren't cheap. You get give me some more. Like people right now are be like, yeah, this is a good episode.
Legal analyst. Yeah. Like we
I
said.
already did that.
Analyst. So strategist. So an analyst who maybe you have a bunch of spreadsheets, a bunch of data, a bunch of information, lead information, analyze this spreadsheet and tell me what you get out of it. What should I be looking at? What are our ideal target customers?
I just did that the other day.
Highest value customers, right?
And it sure did.
Strategy.
And you know what? And see, this is why I don't understand. It's like, are you saying that because of what I put in before, and you're just almost humoring me?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they are, then I'm going to get pissed a little bit because I don't want humor. I want the truth. And I said that, and you know what it said? Oh, very smart of you to say that, and blah, blah, blah. And it switched a little bit what it was saying. And I thought, is it still humoring me? Like, are these things built to just tell you whatever they think you want to hear, or are they built to tell you the fucking truth?
Kind of.
Because I want the truth. I don't want a bunch of fucking plagiarizing or not patronizing. I don't want to be patronized by my AI model.
And you can tell it that. You can tell it. Tell me the truth. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me the truth.
Well, I'm going to do that.
It will be more real with you. Grok will actually be the best at that.
Yeah, because I want to say, like, for example, like you said, I want to say, hey, here's my product. Here's my history. I'll prompt it for 90 minutes if I have to. Here is every last thing in the world that I can think of to tell you. Now tell me this. And if it's just patronizing me, that's not very valuable.
It's not helpful.
If it's the truth, based on what I know, which is everything, here's what I would do to fix your business. Here's what I would do to boost your revenue. Here's how I would price your shit based on what's out there.
Oh, pricing strategy is one I used all the time.
Yeah. So now it's a consultant for $20 a month.
It's
like, why aren't you charging $200 or even $2,000? And I'd hate to say it, I'd pay it. If it was $2,000,
if my assistant's listening, can we go create a $2,000 a month subscription plan, please?
Well, I mean, dude, people would pay it if they understand how to leverage it.
They understand the value. Absolutely. I mean,
based on what you just said, I do enough of that all month long that if I paid you $2,000 a month to have that bang, 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 dude, I'd get.
Yeah. I mean, imagine how much you pay for a conversion rate expert, right? To 4X your ROAS. How much would you pay for that person? It cost me fractions of a penny to do that.
Yeah, well, how much would I pay for a lawyer to read over an agreement?
Yeah.
And there's businesses out there getting agreements left and right.
Yeah.
And so guess what? They got to send it to their lawyer, send it to their lawyer, send it to their lawyer. Now just load it up to ChatGPT. If it's really important, like a lawsuit or something, well, then frickin' give it to your lawyer and pay $50,000. And I'll bet you your lawyer is using ChatGPT now.
That's true. That is very true.
Isn't there one that's best for law?
I would say there's not one that I've found that is exclusively best for law. You can really train any of these models, give it enough context to make it better at a given topic. So Claude in particular, I think is the best for that because Claude focuses on accuracy and safety. That's like its two primary objectives, accuracy and safety.
And I get Claude when I do Magi.
100%. You get every flavor of Claude. You get the smartest version of Claude, and you can partner with any other persona that you can imagine.
Is it easy to use?
Oh yeah, it's just as easy as ChatGPT. It's the same exact thing. I just
type it in.
It's like.
How will I know which model to switch it to? I wouldn't know to take it from ChatGPT and then throw it over to Claude.
You don't really have to. You can leave it on the ones you want, but we do have ongoing training. Like every week, I'm teaching classes. Here's what's the latest in AI, and here are the new discoveries, and I'm constantly sharing information to keep people updated. But again, we have the auto switcher that you can just relegate to that, or you can just stick to the newest version of every model, and for the most part, you'll be fine. The people who really spend the time to explore a bit and find the one that suits their needs the best, they're the ones that are going to get, just a few steps ahead of those that are just, using the whatever one they is default.
So folks, if you guys are paying attention, you guys just learned how to freaking grow and scale your business, protect your business for $20.
$20.
And
everyone on your team needs a subscription.
I would get everybody on my team Magi and say, leverage it for whatever it is you do here. Accountants, leverage it. Oh, that's another thing I did. So I uploaded my financials and I said, based on these financials, and I prompted it for a while. And I said, number one, would you sell my company knowing the future and what's happening in the world? Number two, if you would, what would you ask for it? What do you think it's worth? I think that was it. Would you sell it? And if so, how much, basically? Dude, it freaking did some shit. It made me re-excited about the value of my company because I was thinking it was way less. I didn't understand. And then I started prompting after because it's almost like a conversation. And then I'm like, well, what about this? So I did that, man, and it got me excited because it basically evaluated my company. Now, again, I'm thinking, is this just humoring me or is this real shit? So I said, tell me the truth. And they cited the things and said, dude, listen, I mean, this is what the industry's paying for a SaaS at this growth rate, at this ARR, at this, and if you want to increase it to 4 times what it is, go do these things. And then it said, do you want me to tell you how to do those things or build you those things? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, dude, I just almost want to ChatGPT all day long, or Magi, I should start saying.
All day long. Yeah. I'll give you one more that I think is super helpful, especially for all the salespeople. I mean, you do a lot of sales training, right? How many times have you told people in sales training, like, you need to do some role play, like do some, some objection answering here, test out some objections and how you would handle those objections. Pro tip, create a persona that is your target customer. Tell it you are male, age between the ages of 35 and 46, living in Los Angeles, with whatever your avatar is, right? Give it that role. Tell the AI that is that persona, and then start asking it questions. What objections do you have for my product, my service? What are your biggest pain points? What are your biggest fears? What are your biggest challenges?
That's like a research.
All of a sudden you have on-demand customer research.
That's huge too.
That's a bomb dropper. That's
a huge one. Well, in Lightspeed, because it's a training system, we programmed AI customers so people can train and practice with artificial intelligence rather than real
so
customers.
Ahead of the game.
So right now, if I tell you, here's how you handle an objection, and here's the rebuttals you want to use for, I'm just looking and And so now we still train them through interactive video, and we still test them through multiple choice, mix and match, there's still a test, but then it says, okay, you passed the test. Now go close these people. And it's all AI, and we film, and it's filming them, and it's all voice. So they have to literally now go do what we taught them that they claim they know and they appear to know, but now we let them practice on AI customers. So now your sales team can you can see if your sales team can get past objections. You're basically frequently heard objections, and dude, people are loving it.
Oh yeah.
Because now their team's practicing on free customers instead of the ones that I paid to get in the door.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, that's Lightspeed VT, kids. If you guys need Lightspeed VT to train your team, we built AI into it. Now, again, can I reach out to you and say, hey, I want you to build me these better?
Oh yeah. For our enterprise customers, we do white glove service. So if you want us to set up your workspace so it has all the data that it needs to know about your business, we'll set up custom personas for you. Personas are just like changing an AI model inside the app. You select your AI model, you select your persona, and you start having a conversation. We'll create those custom personas for you based on whatever your needs are.
You'll train it for us. But inside of Magi, so I still get all those models.
Yep.
Because, dude, to me, that's why I think you're going to be a billionaire yourself. Because, dude, what's better than ChatGPT? All of them.
Exactly right.
And you can't get all of them unless you go subscribe to all of them, which is way more money. So you just go to one, get them all. Yeah. Dude, I think you're going to be one of those Silicon Valley billionaires here soon.
Well, I hope it'll be a different flavor. I think the Silicon Valley thing is, the shine is wearing off on those people. I tend to love people more than I love dollar bills, and I hope I never lose that, because that's how you build great products, I think. And I wouldn't say no to $1 billion for sure, but I really care about the people and the product, and I don't want to see another generation of business owners wiped out by this new trend called AI, just like all the business owners who got wiped out by the internet trend. So,
because they didn't adopt it.
They didn't adapt.
Dude, I remember when I was selling websites before everyone had websites.
People thought you were crazy, I bet.
They said they didn't need one. And I said, dude, if you don't have a website, no one's going to
got a brick and mortar store.
Yeah, they didn't think they needed a website. Mm-hmm. And back then they kind of didn't, but I would say, dude, in a few years, if you don't have a website, no one's going to believe you're actually in business. Mm-hmm. And that's true today. First thing I do if I go to Magi is I want to know the website. Mm-hmm. And if you said, well, we don't have a website, I'd be like,
come to our brick and mortar store in Bakersfield, California. Yeah. No, nobody's coming.
Okay. So guys, most of the people listening are entrepreneurs or wantrepreneurs. They're risk takers. A lot of you guys are also employees, listening, that want to be in business for yourself or want to be more valuable for the business that you're doing. So again, this is another way for you guys to like get in and start adopting AI, and you'll become more valuable to the organization you're working with. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about, how do you make money? Like, let's say I'm just a dude out there down on my luck. I got a $10 an hour job and I'm listening to this. Like, let's talk about, how do people make money using Magi?
Well, just use the examples that I gave here today. So people are still out there. People. Just do it for them, right? Just say, hey, I'm an AI expert service provider. So I'll go and I'll optimize your homepage and create 400% increase in your ad spend, your return on ad spend. People will do that.
I'll pay you now.
There are plenty of CEOs like you. Like, I don't want to do the work. I know I can go have AI do the work, but that means I need to prompt it and I need to log into the thing, right? Just go out there, jump on Fiverr or Upwork or something and say, hey, I'm an AI expert. I'll optimize your website. I'll do deep research on your competitors and create us versus them landing pages. There's all those tasks that anybody can do. Sell that as a service. So we have a lot of podcasters who use Magi as well, and they're using it to. So they'll bring the audio in from their podcast that they just recorded, because you can upload audio files into Magi, and they'll have the AI turn it into a blog post, write 10 social media posts from it, create, repurpose the content for it, right? You can create an entire podcast production studio just with Magi by creating that
See, like right now,
secondary content.
But if I had someone here that could do that or should do that, I'd pay $5,000 a month for that guy.
Right. Absolutely. And so, if you're Joe Schmo, trying to get his big break as a freelancer, just start offering some freelance services powered by AI. I mean, that's a huge tagline right now. I myself, I know a lot about SEO, but I hired an SEO company that was SEO powered by AI. So it's humans plus AI that are going to do it for you. I could go in, I could write the prompts, I could engineer the hell out of them and do a fantastic job, but I don't have the time. I need somebody else to do that for me. And I don't want to pay them, the $2,000 per article that I used to pay, because I know they're using AI. I know it's going to take them 5-10 minutes maybe, but I want some expert eyes on it, and I want them to use the AI for me.
Dude, a lot of people listening are going to have questions. Can they just hit you in the DM?
Absolutely.
Is there a special way to do it, or would you prefer they go to magi.co, or how do they talk to you?
There. So I'm on every social platform pretty much at Dustin W. Stout. And, the fastest way to reach me is through my DMs there. I love X. X has always been my social mistress. It's my favorite place.
Seems like X is where the smarter people hang out.
I feel like they are. There's a lot of bad media coverage saying it's, all hateful, and I don't see any hateful stuff on there. I guess it's a matter of curating your own experience, right? I follow a bunch of smart people. All I see is smart stuff all day long.
I'm on Instagram.
I love Instagram too. And I curate my experience there. I get plenty of DMs on Instagram, so feel free to DM me there. But everything's on magi.co. So if you reach out to us, we have a support widget. You can send us a message. We have a support team in place. They'll answer your questions. They'll put you right through to me if you want. Yeah, we have all kinds of ways to reach out.
Folks, Magi.com. If you aren't sold by now, I swear to God, you don't deserve to be in business. I'm serious. I mean, dude.
There's a clip I'll be playing for the rest of my life.
Well, at the end of the day, like for a $20 bill, mm-hmm. You've literally got unlimited knowledge and resources at your fingertips. Mm-hmm. And again, the best part is because I can hear people, there's always haters, well, why would I do that? I could just go over there and get the ChatGPT free thing. Is there a free one?
Oh, there is. And there is a world of difference between the free version and the higher end version.
Yeah. So, but there's going to be people, why would I do that? It's like, guys, why would you worry about $20 when you can prompt it one time and frickin' revolutionize your website? Mm-hmm. Do a comparison of competitors, find your perfect avatar, find blind spots you're not looking at, create workbooks and training outlines and contract negotiations. And like, folks, we only went through a few of them. Reach out to this dude. He'll give you 100 more. That's what you should do. Have pre-ready prompts.
I do.
You do?
Yeah, we create them all the time for our blog. We just wrote one for churches. We have 100 prompts for youth ministries, and I'm working on one for 100 prompts for real estate professionals.
Yeah, because a lot of people that are listening to this thinking I'm in, but then they'll get there and they'll be like, well, how do I prompt it?
They just don't know where to start. Yeah.
So just give me some freaking templates like business prompts. Bang, read this, do this, because like these little ideas that you're given, they're the things that are getting people fired up. Because, dude, I'm a little bit more advanced than most, or not most, but a lot, because I've been messing with it. Mm-hmm. But before, when I heard about it, I wouldn't have known to do these things. I wouldn't have thought about it, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to prompt it perfectly, because a lame prompt will get you a lame answer.
Garbage in, garbage out. That's
So I still wouldn't know how to prompt. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go to Magi.
Well, here's a fun little thing we built. So I recognize that about people, right? Sometimes we don't know what to say, or we don't know how to say it in the most elaborate way. I think the best communicators are going to be the best at AI, but not everybody's a great communicator. So we have a feature in Magi called the prompt enhance button. So you can write a dead simple, dumb little prompt that has nothing. It's just write me a blog post about turtles. And you can hit the prompt enhance button, and our AI is going to go in, look at that prompt, figure out what does he really want from this based on what we know about their business or their company, whatever context. And it's going to prompt engineer that dumb little prompt for you, give you a much more elaborate prompt. So you can just hit the next button, which is send. And then the AI then has, a Harvard level engineered prompt for you.
Okay. And then business owners that are already running and you're not worried about $20, I would reach out as an enterprise potential and say, hey, how much is it to get my company in the system and trained on who we are, what we've done? Like, in other words, I want AI trained on my whole entire company. So when I ask it questions, it's giving me freaking killer answers. And dude, I'm already down for that. So not only am I going to go sign up for magi.co, I'm also going to figure out how several of my companies, well, not just my team, but I want you to do what you were talking about, where like you go do the work and the time to prompt it about everything about us. Because dude, I want to know, I want my website optimized. I want the competitor comparisons. I want the analysts, but it needs to know about my company. Because when I did it with the financials, I sat in there for about, I would say 40 minutes trying to think up all the things about the company and I bet you, and I didn't ask what else did I miss and what else do you need to know? Like I didn't know what to do. You guys do. So I'd rather write you a check and say, dude, here's what I'm looking for. You guys take that check, get it all prompted up to where when I log in the next day on my account, it already knows who I am, what I do, how much I've been, all my differences, all the competitors' differences. Who are my competitors? Go study them. Look at their websites.
Yep.
All that. Like, dude, it's invaluable. So business owners, you got a little extra dough than 20, because that ain't $20, is it?
Well, I mean,
if it is, I'm
still
in.
Standard enterprise, $20 per user per month. That's it.
So what's to stop a owner from paying and then letting everybody use his password?
Well, limitations. So we put limitations on every account. For the $20 a month, you get about, the equivalent of about 100,000 words per month that you can get out of the AI.
But you
there's
can
more or less depending on which model you use, because some models are more expensive than others and some models are really cheap to use.
What happens when you run out?
So with ChatGPT, if you run out, you're SOL.
What does it say?
I've never ran out. You have to wait 4 hours before your limit resets, your rate limit resets. With Magi, you can just buy more words. We call it topping up. So if you run out of words, just top up in $5, $10, $20 intervals and you keep working. No waiting necessary.
Yeah, I'm in, bro. You're going to be a rich dog. Folks, you heard it here. Okay, go follow the dude, Dustin W. Stout, on all the social medias. His company's Magi, Magai.co. Go get yourself an account, get your business an account, and get everyone in your business an account. Because if you don't, you're going to get left behind, folks. And that, my friend, is keeping it real. Appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate you.
Later, dudes.